At 12:20 a.m. on August 17, 2020, a police sergeant named Kevin Bingham was sitting inside of his cruiser in a parking lot in Scottsdale, Arizona when he heard a strange sound. At first, it sort of sounded like a woman screaming, but then it kind of morphed into more of like a screech, and so he decided he would go investigate. And so just ahead of Sergeant Bingham is this huge health club, and then behind it was an outdoor pool area, and right away he hears more screeching, and immediately Sergeant Bingham can tell it's coming from inside of the enclosed pool area. Suddenly, the noises changed, and it went from just being these guttural, high-pitched screeches to somebody yelling out a single word, help, grabbed his radio and called for backup. 2 minutes later, another officer showed up, and Bingham and the other officer ran inside. Right in front of them are these two pools. There's this huge lap pool, no one's in it, and then next to it is another pool, and so the officers are looking at each other like, where is this person? But just then, the cries for help began again. It was coming from a third shallow pool with two water slides going into it. It sounded very much like this person must be in or near these slides. There's two slides. There's one slide, which is blue, and it's an open top, but the other slide, the red slide, was a tube slide, and so the two officers went to the base of the red slide. Sergeant Bingham tells the other officer, hey, stay right here at the foot of the slide. I'm gonna go up and go down the slide. We'll meet in the middle, we'll find this person, and we'll get them out of here. And he begins slowly making his way down the slide, and at the same time, his partner at the bottom began making his way up the slide. But then suddenly, both officers come face to face right in the middle of this red slide, and there's nobody there. And so at this point, both officers are totally freaked out. And so Sergeant Bingham and the other officer start screaming out for this person, like, hey, tell us where you are. But in response, they just continue to get more and more desperate sounding screeches. Sergeant Bingham went over to the blue slide and he began going up the slide. Now, this slide was not a straight slide. It actually went around in the middle like a corkscrew. And about halfway up the corkscrew section, he doesn't see anybody, but then something catches his eye just below him, and he could not believe what he saw. It would turn out earlier that night, a 32-year-old man named Ryan Kelly, who was naked and high on snuck into the pool area. He began walking down that blue slide. He stopped and noticed there was a support beam that supported the corkscrew section of the slide. The top of this beam was open. It was a round beam with about an 18-inch diameter across. Ryan, being high on, climbed up to the top of it, and he began lowering himself into this pipe. He's completely wedged, barely able to breathe, and on top of that, they were experiencing a heat wave, and so he's basically cooking alive, and there's no way to get out. And so for hours and hours, rescue crews tried to get Ryan out, and so finally at the 7-hour mark, they had to bring in a crane, and they had to fully dismantle the slide, but unfortunately, by that point, it was too late for Ryan. He had passed away. An autopsy would show that ultimately what killed Ryan was the combination of the meth in his bloodstream and the extreme heat he was exposed to inside of that pipe.